For today's video, we'll be taking a look at a no-frills high airflow ATX PC case by Phanteks, the Eclipse G370A. Available in black, the Eclipse G370A is a mid-tower ATX PC case offering that is targeted at both consumer and workstation builds, all thanks to its no-frills aesthetics and workstation-friendly features. Let's see if it's any good. Kicking things off with the packaging, the Eclipse G370A comes in a run-of-the-mill brown cardboard box with your usual product illustrations and descriptions on all sides. In terms of accessories, the G370A comes with a plastic bag of accessories that's secured to the motherboard tray with a cable tie. Within the bag, we get an instruction manual, a RMA information leaflet, a bunch of cable ties, 2 PCIe expansion slot covers, a GPU support bracket, a pack of screws and rubber spacers for 3.5-inch hard disk mounting purposes, and another pack of screws that also includes a tool that allows you to use a Phillips head screwdriver to install and remove motherboard standoffs with ease. With that, here it is, the Phanteks Eclipse G370A unboxed. The case features a traditional mid-tower ATX layout with a chamber at the bottom for your power supply and a storage drive, and the case is made of a combination of steel and ABS plastic with a tempered glass side panel. The G370A features a front panel with a full mesh construction for airflow purposes, and as can be seen, the case has a no-frills kind of aesthetic, unsurprising really, seeing as one of the demographics that Phanteks is targeting with this case is the workstation crowd, where too much bling probably wouldn't be the name of the game. The case comes with a tempered glass side panel to showcase the insides of your PC build, and the other side panel is a simple steel panel with no ventilation openings. The front panel connectors of the case are located on the top panel, where we get a 3.5mm headphone and microphone combo jack, a single USB 3.0 Type-C port, a USB 3.0 Type-A port, a reset button, as well as a power button. Do note that the case does not come with a hard disk activity indicator light. While we're still on the top panel of the case, we get openings for triple 120mm case fans or up to a 360mm AIO radiator, where we also get a removable dust filter that's held in place magnetically. On the bottom panel of the G370A, we get ventilation openings for the power supply unit's cooling fan, where Phanteks has also included a removable dust filter. As can be seen, the case comes with 4 plastic feet with foam-like inserts. The rear of the case is a pretty standard affair. The expansion slot openings have single-use punch-outs that you'll have to break off. And to secure your expansion cards to the case, you'll have to pop off this plastic cover like so. With that, let's get the panels of the G370A. It's great to see that Phanteks has gone with a toolless approach for the front and side panels, where you can simply pry off the left tempered glass panel, right steel panel, and the front panel without the need for any tools. As mentioned earlier, the dust filter of the top panel is held in place by magnets, while the dust filter of the power supply unit's cooling fan slides in and out of place easily, like so. On a side note, if you're new to the AOK Tech channel, do consider subscribing so as to keep up to date with the latest releases in the PC hardware world. With that, onto the interior, starting first with cooling features. The Eclipse G370A comes with 3 pre-installed M25 120mm DRGB case fans over on the front panel. Now if you like, you can replace these fans with other brands and models of 120mm case fans, or install up to a 240mm AIO radiator. Now do note that when you've got a 240mm AIO radiator installed behind the front panel, you won't be able to install a 360mm AIO radiator on the top panel of the case. The top panel of the case has ventilation openings that support up to 3 120mm case fans or a 360mm AIO radiator with the dimensions on the screen. Finally, over on the rear, Phanteks has included a single opening that supports a 120mm case fan. In terms of physical dimensions, the Eclipse G370A is not overly large for a PC case that supports EATX motherboards, where it has the dimensions as stated on the screen. A feature that's clearly targeted at the workstation PC crowd is the fact that this case has support for server and workstation motherboards that comply with the SSI-EEB standard, and of course EATX form-factored motherboards. For you folks intending to use an air cooler for your processor, do note that the case supports CPU coolers of heights no more than 170 mm according to the spec sheet for the G370A. For your graphics card, the case supports horizontal GPU mounting only and comes with support for graphics cards with lengths of up to 375 mm. This figure is for when you have intake fans mounted on the front panel. We've also got width clearance of up to 170 mm for your graphics card, and if you'd like, you can install the included GPU support bracket that can be mounted on the motherboard tray and is held in place by 2 screws, where it's also adjustable for height. Do note that with an EATX or larger motherboard installed, you won't be able to install the GPU support bracket, as the mount opening on the motherboard tray would be obscured by EATX or larger motherboards. Also, I advise against using this case with graphics cards that come equipped with very tall coolers, and I mean really tall coolers that are the exception rather than the norm, such as the Gigabyte Aorus GeForce RTX 4090 Master 24G that I have on hand, which I can safely say is one of the largest graphics cards available on the market. It measures in at a hefty 358.5 mm by 162.8 mm by 75.1 mm. Due to its width of 162.8 mm, I was unable to get the RTX 4090 Master into the case despite its purported 170 mm of width clearance, as the Aorus Master's cooler shroud couldn't clear the G370A's frame right above the PCIe expansion slot cover area so as to be able to get the card properly inserted into the motherboard's PCIe slot. I must say though that this is really a fringe type kind of situation, seeing as mainstream and even high-end RTX 5090 and RTX 4090 cards tend to have widths of around 140 mm to 150 mm. Flagship cards with widths of more than 150 mm tend to be really few and far between. Just something to note in case you're thinking of using a really tall GPU with this case. With regard to the motherboard tray, do note that the G370A doesn't come with support for back connect motherboards, so you'll have to make do with standard motherboards with connectors on the front. In terms of power supply dimensions, Phanteks indicates that the Eclipse G370A has 200 mm of length clearance for a power supply, which is mounted in the bottom chamber of the PC case. For those of you intending to install 2.5-inch and 3.5-inch drives for your PC build with the G370A, Phanteks has included a drive bracket on the rear of the motherboard tray that supports up to two 2.5-inch SSDs, and this is accompanied by a drive mount in the bottom chamber of the case for a single 3.5-inch hard drive. The front panel connectors of the case are a pretty straightforward affair, where we get the usual front panel USB 3.0 Type-A connector. Do note that the front USB Type-A and Type-C ports share this same connector. We do also get a front panel audio connector as well as a 9-pin front panel connector for the power switch, reset, and power LEDs. I appreciate the fact that Phanteks has opted to use a 9-pin connector rather than standalone connectors, which can be more fiddly to hook up to their respective header pins on the motherboard. The case also comes with 3 pre-installed Phanteks M25 case fans over on the front panel, and we've got the corresponding 4-pin fan connector and ARGB connector. Do note that you can daisy chain the included fans to additional Phanteks case fans where needed. With that, let's do a demo build with the Eclipse G370A. Getting an EATX motherboard, a Gigabyte X670E Aorus Master into the case was pretty easy, where the motherboard standoffs are already pre-installed on the motherboard tray and we get ample space for maneuvering things around. With an EATX form factor motherboard in place, These cable routing openings on the motherboard tray are accessible and located in strategic positions to allow you to cable manage and get your cables to their respective positions. Naturally, if you've got a bigger motherboard in place, say a server board that's larger than EATX, these openings would be obscured for sure. Installing the power supply unit was a cinch too. Just make sure that you've got a PSU that's no more than 200mm in length and you're good to go. You'll want to note to route the front panel cables through the bottom openings bordering the motherboard tray to the motherboard only after you've installed the PSU, as there might not be enough clearance for you to get the PSU properly inserted into the bottom chamber if you route cables through the said openings first. For this demo build, I'll be installing a 3-pack of Phanteks M25 G2 120mm case fans as exhaust fans on the top panel of the case, and another standalone M25 G2 fan as an exhaust fan on the rear of the case. GPU wise, I'll be using a MSI GeForce RTX 5060 Ti Gaming Trio OC graphics card for this build, where it measures in at 300mm by 125mm by 44mm and fits very easily into the case. As I've used an EATX board for the demo build, I wasn't able to use the included GPU support bracket and used the one that came with the MSI graphics card instead. Moving things along, and with the demo build nearly completed, it's a good time to talk about cable management. While the Eclipse G370A doesn't come with that many cable management features, we do get plenty of cable anchor points with which to secure your cables to with the included zip ties, and of course, openings on the motherboard tray at all the right places to help with cable routing. I didn't do much cable management for this demo build, but I think it still looks pretty decent, all things considered. And with that, here's a completed demo build with the Eclipse G370A. In terms of thermal performance, I did a quick performance benchmark with the G370A's demo build, where you can see the specs of the said build on the screen. With F123's in-game benchmark test, where I ran a 5-lap test for around 9 minutes in total, the Ryzen 7 7800X3D processor in the demo build achieved an average CPU temperature of around 53.5 degrees Celsius, while the RTX 5060 Ti Gaming Trio OC achieved an average GPU temperature of 64.6 degrees Celsius and an average GPU memory junction temperature of 61.4 degrees Celsius. These results were achieved in an air-conditioned room with a temperature of around 26 degrees Celsius. A pretty good set of results, I must say. This is, after all, a high airflow case. On a side note, I left the fan curves on their stock settings without any tweaks. Your thermal performance with this case will definitely vary, especially if you're using different hardware from the test build in this review. To sum up, I think that the Phanteks Eclipse G370A delivers on its value proposition as a no-frills, high-airflow PC case that is targeted at both everyday consumers and professionals alike, where it has great thermal performance and is hence well suited for you folks intending to build a performance PC but without the need for a blinged out PC case. Build quality is decent for its price bracket, though there are a couple of minor things that I wish could have been included, such as having a GPU support bracket that works even with motherboards larger than the ATX form factor, and having default support for more 3.5-inch hard drives, seeing as this case could be targeted at the workstation crowd after all. In any case, I still do think that the Eclipse G370A is a great PC case to have, especially from a thermal performance perspective, and should serve your needs well if you're looking to build a high-end PC without spending a ton of cash on your PC case. As of the time of publishing this review, the Eclipse G370A can be purchased from Newegg for around $59 for you international viewers, or around 105 Singapore dollars from local PC hardware retailers in Singapore. With that, thank you so much for watching, hit the like button and get subscribed if you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys around the next time.